In this video, we are going to continue our work with solving systems of equations by looking at all the different methods put together. So when you guys take your quiz or your test on this section, all the different methods will be mixed up together and you have to know which one to do when. Okay, so let's do a review question first. So this one says solve for x when y equals negative 16. So to do this problem, I'm going to have to do some substitution. So I will leave x where it is for right now, and I'll put negative 16 in place of y. Okay, so now I need to work to get x by itself. I'll subtract 10 from both sides. Negative 3x equals negative 26. Now I want to divide both sides by negative 3. X equals. Okay, so the reason why I picked this one is because I want to practice working with this number right here. So 3 does not divide into 26 evenly, so I'm just going to leave my answer as an improper fraction. You do not need to type this one into your calculator and then do math enter, because it's just going to turn back out to be the exact same thing you typed in. If it simplifies, you want to simplify it, but in this case, the only thing I can do, negative divided by negative is a positive, and so my final answer is going to be 26 over 3. Okay, so now let's look at this one. The directions are going to say solve by substitution. So when you look, let's see, I need to look for something that has a coefficient of 1 or negative 1. So 3, negative 4, 1, and 1. So my top equation is going to be the best one, and I can either solve this for x or solve this for y. It doesn't matter. I'm going to get the same answer either way. So I'm just going to go ahead and pick solving for x. Copy this down over here where I can work with it. Subtract y from both sides. I get x equals negative y plus 5. Okay, now if you remember from when we did substitution, x is the same thing as negative y plus 5. So I'm going to take that and substitute it in for x in the other equation. So that means I'm going to have 3 times negative y plus 5. I'm replacing x with negative y plus 5 because they are the same thing. All right, let me write down the rest of my equation. All right, so let's solve this for y. What should my first step be? Well, my first step is going to be to distribute that 3 so I can get rid of the parentheses. I want to simplify the left-hand side of this equation as much as I can. So I'm going to combine like terms right there. All right, subtracting 15 from both sides. So negative 7y equals negative 7. Got to get y by itself. Divide by negative 7 on both sides, and y equals 1. Okay, so have we completed the problem at this point? Nope. Remember, this is a point of intersection. I need an x value and a y value. So far, I just have an x value. So I just have a y value. So I'm going to take that y value and I'm going to substitute it back in. The one that I have circled there is the best one to substitute into because it already has x by itself. So it's going to be a little bit easier if I substitute here. Negative 1 plus 5 is 4. So my final answer is the point 4, 1. Okay, now there's a couple of different ways we can check this. Remember, we can choose to substitute both of these in both of our equations. Remember, if you choose to check algebraically, it's very important that you check in both equations. We could also check this by graphing. So because I'm going to ask you about graphing on the test, let's go ahead and practice that. So in order to put these in our calculators, we have to have y by itself on both of them. So I'm going to take this top one and I'm going to solve for y, subtracting x on both sides. Nothing really special about putting the x first. It's just that usually we want to make it look like y equals mx plus b, so we choose to put the x first because of that. Okay, now same thing on this second one. Let's work on this one to get y by itself. So I'll subtract 3x from both sides on that one. Okay, now I'm going to divide by -4, and I'm going to choose to divide each thing separately, leaving this one as a fraction, and 8 divided by -4 is -2. Okay, so now I'm ready to type into my calculator. I'll put that in for y1 and y2. All right, and I have it already typed in there for us, -x plus 5 and 3/4 x minus 2. And as usual, you can see I put my 3/4 in parentheses. So let's graph that. All right, there's the blue one, the top one, and there's the red one, the second one. All right, and let's see if we can find that point of intersection right there. So second, calculate, go down to number 5. All right, the blue one is my first one, I'll hit enter. The red one is my second one, I'll hit enter. And then when I guess, I'm going to move over there as close as I can using my right and left cursors. And my guess is the point 41. I mean, my intersection after I hit guess is the point 41, which you remember, that's what we got for our answer, the point 41. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Let's try this one. All right, so this one it says to solve by elimination. What's different about this one that makes us think elimination is a good idea? Well, look at the coefficients, 3, 5, 7, and -5. I don't see a single 1 or a -1. So that's why this one is not a good choice for substitution, much better to solve by elimination. I notice I already have some opposites right here. So I don't even need to multiply on this one. I can just add straight down. +5 and -5 are opposites of one another. So I can cancel those out. 3x and 7x make 10x. 6 and 24 make 30. Dividing by 10 on both sides, and I get x equals 3. Okay, but let's remember that's not the final answer, right? This is a system. It has an x and a y, so I need a y coordinate. So for this one, is it easier to substitute into the top one or the bottom one? No, in this case, it doesn't matter. You can choose whichever one you want. I'll pick the one that's on top. Substituting 3 for x right here, and now I need to solve for y. So let's work to get y by itself. Subtracting 9 from both sides. And dividing by 5 to give me -3/5. Okay, so my answer is the point 3, comma, -3/5. All right, let's check this one by graphing and see if we get the same thing. So just like before, I need to solve both of those for y. So working to get y by itself. And just like before, it doesn't really matter, but I'm going to choose to put the 3x first because I want to make it look like y equals mx plus b. All right, I'm going to get fractions on both of these, so I'll put both of those in parentheses in my calculator. All right, and let's do the same thing for this one. So I will choose to subtract 7x so I can get the y by itself. All right, be careful here. Remember to bring down that negative with the 5. Sometimes y'all accidentally forget your negatives. Dividing each thing by a negative separately. And I get that. So again, I'm going to want to put both of those in fraction form in my calculator. All right, I have everything typed into my calculator here. Let's hit graph. There's the top one, there's the blue one. And there's the bottom one, there's the red one. Okay, let's see if we found the right point. Second, calculate. Do you remember which one to pick? I'm going to pick number 5, intersection point. First curve is blue. Second curve is red. All right, let's scoot over here and guess. All right, and the answer that I got is 3.6. Okay, so let's look back at what we got. I'm sorry, negative 0.6. You can see the little negative right there. So let's look back at what we got to originally. I got 3, negative 3/5. So you might think you got that wrong, but if you type negative 3 divided by 5 in your calculator, you're going to get negative 0.6. So it checks out. We got the same answer in our graph that we got when we did it algebraically. Okay, so let's look at this one. All right, based on what we did on the last couple, look at the coefficients. Do you think this is a better choice for substitution, or do you think this is a better choice for elimination? I think it's definitely a better choice for elimination because none of my coefficients are 1 or negative 1. I only want to choose substitution if my coefficients are 1 or negative 1 so that I don't have to work with fractions. Now, I need my numbers to be opposite one another. These two are not opposites. These two are not opposites either. But these two are almost opposites. The only thing I need to do is multiply this top one by a negative 1. That will change all the signs. And now the positive 9y and the negative 9y are opposites. So when I add straight down, those are going to eliminate one another. Negative 23 and positive 25 make positive 2. Divide both sides by negative 2. X equals negative 1. Okay, are we ready to check this one? Nope. Remember, it's a system. So I need an X and a Y. Okay, so let's take this X equals negative 1 and let's substitute in. Does it matter which equation? Not at all. So this time I'll choose the second one. All right, negative 1 times negative 4 is positive 4. Subtracting 4 from both sides. Divide both sides by negative 9. And y equals 3. So my answer, the point of intersection of these two curves, is the point negative 1, 3. Okay, if we were going to check this one algebraically, let's do that instead of graphing this time. So let's substitute in negative 1 for x and 3 for y in that top equation. All right, and if I type this in my calculator, I'm going to get 2 minus 27. And 2 minus 27 does equal negative 25. So far good. Okay, but remember, we have to check it in both. So I'm going to substitute negative 1 for x and positive 3 for y, also in my second equation. And I'm going to get 4 minus 27, which is equal to negative 23. I'm out of space, so I can't write that last line. But you can see that I would get the same thing in this one, negative 25, and I would get the same thing here, negative 23, negative 23. So we got this one right. Negative 1, 3 is my correct answer. So when you guys take your quiz or your test, make sure that you check these before you turn it in. You should be able to get 100 on this because you have two different methods to check it. You can check it with algebra, or you can check it with your calculator. Either way, you're going to be able to know if you got your answer correct or if you need to go back and fix something before you turn your paper in.